we've had to do our Oshogatsu virtually, but I'm webcasting from J-Sei, so you can feel and imagine that you're all here with me. And, we can join together for this special celebration. I'm very excited to introduce a special program. I've known Claudine Naganuma for many years. She was the artistic director of the Asian American dance performances. And we worked out of the same building for many years in San Francisco's Japantown. So it's been really wonderful to get to know Claudine and hear about all of her creative endeavors. At J-Sei, we've were reacquainted through the dance class that Judy Kajiwara was teaching, a hip hop class. And I got to hear about some of the work that Claudine is doing with the dance for Parkinson's. And so we talked, and we had the group a few years ago come and share with us some of the work they were doing. And at that time, they had shared that their dream was to go to Japan and to share their work there at the World Congress of Parkinson's. And they actually fulfilled that dream, got to go visit with a large group of dancers and family members. And I'm so excited to hear more about it. But let me tell you a little bit more about, this book, which is Peace About Life. This is based on interviews that Claudine did with her students with Parkinson's that she's been working with. And from that, performances, she developed some performances. They got to perform throughout the Bay Area, and then they actually got to go to Japan. So the beautiful thing is that this book was then translated into Japanese, and we were able to link up Claudine with someone that we know, who's one of our instructors here at Takako, Hayakawa, and she was able to translate it into Japanese. And the wonderful thing about English and Japanese is that you can, you see the book in English this way, and you can read the Japanese this way, and it meets in the middle. And I think that's what Claudine's going to share, her own journey of growing up, and she'll share about that. I think she's a Sansei or Yonsei, but anyways, she'll talk a little bit about her connection with her own heritage and the integration of that with her work as an artist, creative artist. So really wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and let Claudine tell you all about herself and what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to replace Spotlight.
Hi, everyone. Oh, wow. Thank you. What an honor it is to be, part of this celebration. I just want to have all of us, if you're game, just maybe rub your hands together a little bit and then get some heat. And then just place it on your chest and heart area. And inhale, lift together with us. I am really feeling you guys. And again, this time let's do our crown. Just like kind of open that up. And then one more. This time let's make big wings. So we open up the wings in our back and our scapula so you can get them ready. And here we go, open up. Yes, you can take a few flaps if you want to. I don't know how your wings work, but keep them open. They don't fit in the car very easily, but they should fit in your room pretty easily. All right, guys. So thank you. I want to just also thank everyone who has gotten me here in my life, our ancestors, and all the people who have made sacrifices for us to be here. I just want to appreciate them for a moment there. So I am going to share this is somewhat informal. I feel like it's a family affair in the living room. And I'm going to share a program. So in a more professional setting in a theater, we would usually have this. This serves to me as my menu. So I guess what I'm going to do is just, I'd like to start off with the art, but just to say that this year marks, well, gosh, the pandemic is so bizarre, but in 2021, it was dNaga's 20th anniversary. And after working at Asian American dance performances for about 12 years, I decided to create another entity, dNaga, and I find myself doing a lot of community work now. So I want to share why. So if Jamie, my lovely technical person here, is going to share, yes, and thank you for any patience around technical glitches. We're not quite in broadcast, professional broadcast. The dance community is transitioning to visual arts here and broadcasting. So let's watch. My mother's side came from Hong Kong. And here is an image of the book that they had to study in order to get through the Angel Island immigration station. My mom was detained when she was 7. And it really wasn't until I became an adult that I realized the impact of having both parents incarcerated here in the United States. I definitely had a lot of rage and a lot of aggressive energy, a lot of pain that I was trying to work through my dances. These are images of the crane wife, half human, half crane, and also images from a dance that I adapted from dojoji, half woman, half snake. And I was really trying to find ways to transform pain and suffering and make sense of it. I really tried to use the environment, what is natural. I was always inspired by feathers and sticks and rocks and trees, and that was a way to feel grounded and rooted here in my body. And with my dance company, we were able to, and still are able to, continually turn over difficult subject matter and find ways to transform the pain and suffering by examining it, and then hopefully inspiring the audience also to examine and revision our future. One of the important parts of my work is an intergenerational component. I believe that working with both children and elders is very, very powerful and transformative.
I was diagnosed almost 13 years ago, right at the time that this millennium started. I was really young for a diagnosis of Parkinson's. I was 37. But for a lot of people, at first it's sort of difficulty moving. The feeling with Parkinson's is that you're almost sort of struggling against what's happening in your body. The sense that there can be an ease and peace, and you can allow it to happen rather than to fight against it.
When people come in here, we really treat them as dancers, not as patients. I think that's kind of key, is just real humans dancing. And no matter what level of ability you are at, I think that the creative energy is pretty high in here.
It allows you to take a vacation. You lose yourself in the dance. You have just you and the music and the people dancing around you, and that's a lot of fun.
love it. I keep saying it's the highlight of my life. Love the people. I love what we do. I love what I can do with my body in this class. And it's a gift.
My rusty buddy.
Yes, I'm going to throw in the chat. Oh, you
One
can
of the
stop that
wonderful
now.
things that
oh.
I've
Okay, that's okay. Maybe we should keep going. Go
been
for
able
it.
to do has been to work with people with Parkinson's disease. I've now been teaching dance for PD since 2007, and I have really learned a lot from working with this community. In particular, I've learned what it's like to truly have courage and tenacity, and I've also really learned about appreciation for the body. I really did not know very much about this degenerative disease until I launched into a full-fledged inquiry project called the Peace Project. I basically interviewed everybody who was willing to talk to me about what it was like to find out they had Parkinson's and how to manage it. How did it change their identity? How did it affect their lifestyle? dNaga was invited to be part of Dave Iverson's documentary called Capturing Grace, which was filmed in Brooklyn at the Mark Morris Dance Center, the originator of the Dance for PD program. Since then, we've been invited to perform at various World Parkinson's Congresses, and the most recent one was in Kyoto, Japan. It was there that we launched our new book, which was published in 2019. It was in half English and half Japanese, and I really found that there was quite a lot of stigma in discussing the disease because we don't really talk very much about things that are uncomfortable. And I'm hoping that art can really be a way to destigmatize some of these challenging issues so that we can find ways to transform and heal.
Thank you. And many of those people who are taking Dance for PD are in this Zoom with us today too. So thank you for coming. Actually, in a little bit, we're going to hear from Joyce about her experience being Japanese American and also having Parkinson's. The dance classes are actually real dance classes. We even though we have people with Parkinson's come in, really we're conducting class the way we normally would when learning dance technique. So for instance, we do a warm up and then we learn combinations and we execute them, and then we have little composition moments and then come back together. What we found was things like, sometimes fascination is a real problem with Parkinson's, not being able to execute movement on, when we want it to. And that's the great thing about dancers and people with Parkinson's is that we're very similar. We're trying to cajole our body to do things that it doesn't want to do. And we want it to do it. We want to make it do it in a certain kind of a way. So tools that dancers use, like imagery, is really kind of magical. And well, it's scientific and magical. Anyway, imagery like following a butterfly. So if I might say to some student, please turn, I will get a lot of complaining. But if I say follow the butterfly, then all of a sudden we begin to revolve and we're turning. Ding. So it seems like magic, but I guess imagery is so powerful that it finds another neural pathway to get to execute movement. So at one point, the neurologist said, oh, well, they don't get up and down easily or lie down or roll on the floor. And I was like, let's do it. Butter your pancake. Pretend the floor is a big old pancake and you're butter and you're just melting and sliding. And we've got folks sliding and jumping and turning. So, I mean, and of course, these folks are very, very tenacious and resilient, who are willing to be butter on pancake. So thank you for your bravery. Also musicality, you know, the whole notion of listening to music you really, really like. So if you have a hard time traveling or walking, when I say traveling, it's a dancer term, but moving, walking, maybe James Brown. James Brown will just like get you going and you can start traveling and dancing your way through. So hopefully some of the things that we're doing in dance class, these tools can be brought into other areas of your life as well. I'm gonna just share something now. I'm gonna go and share a piece called Rocks, and Takako Hayakawa actually is speaking in this, and it is an interview of Cathy about her experience. And I'm sorry if you don't speak Japanese. However, I feel like it's also kind of cool because this was made for folks in Japan. So I'll just show you I'll just show you a little bit of this. Please confirm that you can hear. Can you hear? Nothing. You couldn't hear anything. Good job.
No, when you share screen, did you select audio? Share audio too at the bottom?
Yes.
You did.
Yes. Okay, one more time. Blam. No.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to skip that. And let's see. Let me see if I can. We're going to skip that for a moment, okay? I was actually skipping ahead anyway. I'm going to actually share prayer for Jasper next. And if Jamie, so let me just tell you, first of all, so Jasper Wu was actually a kid who was in the backseat of the car and got shot by accident on Highway 880 in Oakland. And, you know, one of the things about art is that we really can use art as a tool for healing. And the Dance for PD class together made this really beautiful piece to Jenny Lim's poem. So Jamie, if you could please share it.
Prayer for Jasper. Fog embalms I-880 in burial gauze that shrouds your dimpled cheeks, frozen out of time. But you are still alive, dreaming you are Superman with your proud muscles invincible to the tricks of scary monsters. If you return now, your mother can stop burning incense, paper money, and ghost palaces for your afterlife. And your smile will rise from the ashes of your picture in time for your second birthday. You will awaken in time for another spring with plum blossoms billowing over sidewalks as you push through the hourglass of childhood to forgive the world, its darkness.
I protect
I protect.
I protect
I protect
the earth for grandchildren so they can bloom.
so they can bloom.
so they can bloom.
They can bloom.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I know it's a little heavy. Joyce, can I ask you to unmute? And I'm really excited to have Joyce. Joyce started coming to class after she heard about it in her Taiko for PD class. So if you're interested in Taiko for PD, you can look up San Jose Taiko. I think there's 3 people on this call. Yael, Fletcher, Cathy, Quides, and Joyce who take Taiko. There's a lot of people on this call who take Taiko. Awesome. Okay, so Joyce, if you could talk a little bit about your experience having or finding out you had Parkinson's. How did you find out you had Parkinson's?
Well, it started back in 2004 with I forgot the name now. Dystonia. I'm not sure if dystonia is part of Parkinson's, but I had it for 10 years. And then I was diagnosed around 2015 with the full Parkinson's. So I've been dealing with it for, what is this now? 7 years? 12 years? Oh, wow. That long? Yep.
Yeah. When you found out you had Parkinson's, what was your experience? Did you hide it? Did you tell people? What was it like?
I sort of hate it because, but then I had the thing about, I was going to the Mountain View Buddhist temple and there was a lady who had it. And so I whispered to her, I'm just like you now. Yeah, it was hard. And then little by little, I found out some other people had it, but there aren't that many people that admit that they have it.
Yeah. Was it particularly challenging? I wonder about being JA and how that kind of affects also culturally. Telling people when things aren't going the way we want them to.
I don't know. Maybe you could ask my brother. Is he here? Fuzzy, are you here?
Yeah, Fuzzy and Jerry are here. Let me see where they are. Here they are.
Oh, can you say anything, Fuzz?
Oh, he has to start his video. Fuzzy, start your video and I can. Okay, there they are.
Oh, hi. How am I doing?
Doing fine.
That's it?
You're still your crazy self.
So what was it like telling your family, Joyce?
My, gee, I don't know.
It's hard.
No, I have to take care of myself. So I started to just do everything. You know, I joined the taiko, the aerobics. So I go out every day now to do exercise.
That's
Yeah.
great.
This wasn't going to keep Joyce down. She just takes charge and, is going to take care of herself, which is great.
Yeah, 'cause there's nobody else to take care of me except my husband.
You have a daughter.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Fantastic daughter.
But one of the things that's really great is that exercise, staying active is really important. Dave Iverson, who also has Parkinson's, talks about Parkinson's disease as a disease of, because it's progressive in nature, is that it's like subtraction, right? So in order to combat subtraction, you have addition. So what are you adding, right? So you're adding walks, or you're adding painting, or you're adding dancing, or you're adding taiko. So that that is the way to continue to engage in a more healthy spar with your situation.
Yeah, and I think it's also great to join a group. So I belong to a group in San Jose that I go to once a month. Support group. And I think that's really important. So you get to know that there are other people. You're not the only one.
Yeah, isolation is difficult, isn't it? Especially now. I just have to, say that the pandemic really has affected people in a really profound way, because now we're being, if we have a little shame and we're not telling people about it, and then now there's COVID and you have to be careful, then you have to be even more isolated. And then the reality also of the uptick in violence against Asians. So that's also yet another thing for us to be worried about. And so I feel like these kinds of resources that we have online right now, the dance, there's yoga out there, there's taiko, there's so many different things. And you could always keep your camera off too, but it's a way to start to engage and battle some of that isolation. Thank you, Fuzzy. I'm going to remove your spotlight and I'm going to ask Cathy. Cathy, can you unmute yourself? And can you talk a little bit about your unmute? Unmute. I know.
Okay,
There you go.
I got it.
Talk a little bit about your experience, maybe the dance class, and then kind of a little bit about being JA.
Yeah. Shall I tell a story of how?
Yeah.
Okay. So being JA, I'm Sansei, and my parents are the Nisei generation. So they're the generation that were incarcerated during World War II for being Japanese. And so they experienced all the trauma of that. And it affected me in many ways. But one way that it affected me was that my dad is also a minister, and the church buys the minister a house to live in. And they bought us a house in the middle of a white district where they were all Catholic, white Catholics, Italians and Germans. I remember mostly Italians around. Nobody looked like us. We were the only ones that looked the way we did. And I felt, there were a lot of unkind things said because it was just 10 years after the war. And so me and my siblings, there were four of us, sort of stair-step siblings, and we had to endure a lot of not so nice things. And I always felt like an outsider. I tried to, I thought that maybe if I learned how to dance, that I would be able to participate a little bit more at parties and at school when we had dances. So I always wanted to take dance lessons. And that didn't happen in my family because somehow we got a piano and my mom decided that each of his kids should play the piano, and we didn't have enough money to do anything else. So we each learned how to play the piano, and the oldest one, me, was going to learn how to play the organ in church. Well, that never happened. And I never got the dance lessons. So, and then I left home like usual, like at the usual age of college, and I took classes here and there. And then somewhere along the way, I got diagnosed with Parkinson's. I was 63 years old. That was in 2014. So I was about the right age. And I still hadn't really danced. And somebody in my taiko class, I was taking regular taiko classes with JAs, and my teacher was an Issei, Japanese. And they were all very accepting of the diagnosis. I'm not sure they understood what it was. I had only barely learned what Parkinson's was. One of the first things I had to tell people was, I'm not going to die from Parkinson's, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just progressive. I'm going to be able to do less and less. And so the teacher accommodated my tremor and being slower in playing. And a couple of the students in the class knew Claudine and suggested that I go to her dance class. And I said, I can't dance. And I don't want to be in a room with people who have Parkinson's. So, but then I watched a movie that Dave Iverson produced, I guess, of a group of people with Parkinson's who spent a year putting together a program and then performing, and it was a great performance. And soon after that, I saw Claudine's performance here of her dance group at Laney College. I saw Martha for the first time and a couple of other people for the first time on Laney's stage dancing. And I said, I can do that. I want to do that. And I started going to Claudine's class, and she called us all dancers, and I became a dancer. So that was my journey to dance. And I guess it brings in some of my JA past, and that's all I can say right now.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. It's so moving. You guys are amazing. Yeah, Yael and Martha and other of you folks who are here.
And Claudine?
Yes, Martha.
Going to have to go pretty soon, but I would just love to answer any questions as well as I can.
Yeah, can you share just how did you overcome the stigma of having Parkinson's?
Well, I never felt it as a stigma. I felt it as something that was going to keep on taking, as they say, the gift that keeps on taking. It was a client. I did immigration law for 45 years. And one of my clients mentioned PD Active. And that's how I tapped into Claudine's class. And I love that she would say, give way to whimsy. And that just hit the spot. I was able to dance and have relationships with the young people who were in the class, who were so wonderful and respectful. That really touched me. Even these little kids, they would look up and say, how are you today? Like you wouldn't expect really young people to do that. I have my own history of oppression and worse, because I'm a Jewish American. but I didn't feel a stigma. And I told people, at first I didn't. At first I hid my hands under my desk when I was taking notes because I was still working and I needed people to hire me. So if they could see me shaking and tremoring, maybe they wouldn't hire me. But after a while, I just said, forget it. And, there I was in full bloom, tremoring and all of the other things that go along with Parkinson's, until finally I retired.
Martha, you were a part of the trip to Japan. You came.
I was indeed. There were 15 of us, I think, and it was an amazing experience. We learned to take the subway from where we were staying to the hotel where the Congress was being held, and the excitement of getting into our costumes and putting our makeup on, and then going out and dancing in front of 1,000 people or more. I don't know how many were there. It was just amazing. Same with the Portland Congress. That was in 2016. I just felt so honored and special. We practiced and rehearsed until we had the choreography down straight, and it wasn't such simple choreography to me anyway. But we learned it because we practiced. We were so motivated. We just practiced and practiced. And then when it came time to get on the stage, we were ready. And
Yeah. And so anybody on this call who has PD and has never been to a Dance for Parkinson's class, we're going to drop in the chat how to find our class and register. And maybe you, if you're motivated and you want to perform, oh my gosh, maybe we can go to Barcelona. That's where the next World Parkinson's Congress will be. So I thank you, Martha. Thank you, Cathy. Thank you, Joyce, for talking. Thank you, Fuzzy, also for weighing in. Jamie, let's play the slideshow. The slideshow is kind of fun. It'll just show you what we did. We went to Kyoto first. Well, actually, we went to Tokyo. Some of us went to Tokyo, did a lot of Dance for Parkinson's activities, went to Kyoto, did the World Parkinson's Congress, and then went back to Tokyo, did more Parkinson's dance activities and perform. So it was kind of wild. And there were more, like how many humans actually, there were a lot of people in our entourage because Cathy brought like everybody in her family practically. So we had a very big group and lots of logistics. So this is a slideshow that we put together. And I hope you enjoy it.
That was our entourage. You know, how many humans we had. I was like feeling a little crazy by the end. I was like, what was I thinking? Next time I should bring a quartet. It's like, oh no, how about 30 people next time? Oh my goodness. So, yeah.
The music starts you going.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the moves that went with the music.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
yeah.
That's nice. So I wanted to just leave a little time for questions and answers, and any of these beautiful people who are here can maybe talk a little bit and answer questions that you might have.
That's
So are there any questions or comments?
So this is Jill. I'll start.
Okay, yeah.
Claudine, can you talk a little bit about your process, like the interview to dance?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so one of the things that got me going was, so my friend Herb had Parkinson's, and I learned a lot through Herb, and together we made it possible to have this dance program. The Mark Morris Dance Group helped to write a grant, and together we helped with the members of the dance class start PD Active, which is a service organization which is in Berkeley. They have their own 501c3, and their mission is to keep people active, people with Parkinson's active. And of course, you know, there's a lot of research out there now that shows that aerobic activity really does arrest the disease. Yeah. So there's no byproducts of exercise except feeling better. So, and what I did was I wanted to learn more about it. First, I started interviewing people about, like, what is it like? When did you find out? And then after a while, I started asking, what kind of medication are you taking? How do the medications interact with food, et cetera? So a lot of people don't always know that because of the medication, if you eat protein, medication won't actually work. Cinnamon is a protein blocker. And so I don't know, you know, don't quote me on any of this, but there's actually a relation. I'm a dancer, but there's a relationship between proteins and medication. And Cathy can talk a little bit. Cathy, do you want to just say something? Well, yes. Okay, just really quickly, because it's such an important factor. You have to.
You have to be really careful about when you take the protein, because if you take it too close together, if you eat protein too close together with your dose, it will compete with your medication to get into your brain. And some people are affected by it more than others. I find that I'm pretty affected, so I have to be very careful about when I eat my protein. So I eat a lot of starch all day to stay full.
Thank you, Cathy. And you know, ice cream has, for instance, has protein. So there's like hidden things that you wouldn't expect that will affect whether your meds work or not. Okay, so then I started asking people about, you know, sort of next level questions, or talking about what happens after you've had the disease for a really long time. What is deep brain stimulation surgery? Then I started to learn more about DBS, which is a procedure that is done for folks with Parkinson's. Actually, there are at least 2 people here on this call today who have DBS, and it is a stimulator, which is similar to a pacemaker, but for the brain. And again, I'm oversimplifying everything. So it's worth looking at. And what I do is I take these interviews and then I go into the studio and we listen to them together with the dancers, and we journal and we draw and we work in teams, and then we build movement. And in that way, we kind of take bite-sized things away and chew on them for a while. Usually takes us about 2 years to create a significant work because there's so many aspects, right? And then after I started doing that, after interviewing folks with Parkinson's, I started to interview neurologists and movement disorder specialists and surgeons, neurosurgeons. And then I started interviewing folks more than once to kind of follow them through their journeys. And so if you're interested, it really is in here. There's so much wisdom, you know, culled from people who have Parkinson's. Because when you go into a doctor's office, you can hear what the symptoms could be, but unless you've actually experienced it, it's hard to really know. And then everyone experiences Parkinson's differently. It's not only is it idiopathic, they don't know how it starts. It is also affects everybody differently. So everyone has their own journey. So I hope that answers your question, Jill.
Claudine, on your dance ensemble, do they all have Parkinson's, or are they a mix of Parkinson's and people without it?
Oh, so mixed, they're mixed. It's people. So I always invite folks from the Dance for PD class to come in. And I also run a girl project, which works with youth in East Oakland. And I invite members of that community to come in. And then I have a dance company. My dance company used to have a lot more youth. So I started working with some of these folks when they were 7, and now they've like graduated from college. So I'm always looking for new 8-year-olds. If you guys have a grandkid, you can bring them to class with you. So I love working intergenerationally. It's so fantastic. You know, I think what ends up happening is that when you find out you have Parkinson's, I mean, I think what I've heard is that, well, first of all, you know, you want to maintain your autonomy for as long as possible, but it seems like nobody minds being bossed around by an 8-year-old. And at the same time, little kids are always told like, shh, be quiet. You don't know anything. You're just a kid. And so putting a kid in charge is also extremely empowering for the child. So some magic occurs between those two. It's a really lovely thing. Yeah.
Claudine, if I could just interject something. My name is Valerie Yasakochi. I'm actually at an ER appointment for my dog right now. But I wanted to quickly say that my husband, Jim Duff, is on this call. He might be a little shy about speaking up, but he's had Parkinson's for 10 years and he had DBS in 2019, and his medication went from 14 pills a day to 3. And he's just doing fabulous. He does rock steady boxing 4 times a day, and he's very active and does other things with PD Active. The key thing I wanted to mention was that I'm also in a support group for mild, moderate Parkinson's care partner group. And I mentioned that you were going to have this event and be hosted by J-Sei. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I apologize. I hadn't heard of you before. I've heard of dance for Parkinson's, but all these people came out and they were like, oh, we know Claudine, my so-and-so went to Japan with her, and on and on and on. So you're quite famous. So
Oh my goodness. It's a small community,
He's
right?
famous.
So anyway, I invited them. So I hope maybe some of the people are here, but I got to go right now. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank
Good
you.
luck with your dog.
Thank you.
I wanted to add just a little bit about the group that went to Japan. That was, let's see, 2019. So that was, how many years ago? I can't do the math. That's part of my Parkinson's. I can't do math so well anymore. But all the grown-ups, all the adults that dancers had Parkinson's, or there was the one who had a brain tumor, but not Parkinson's, but her husband had Parkinson's, so she was with us. And all of the young ladies were Claudine's dancers, the ones she speaks of dancing with her since they were 3 or 6 or whatever. And they're now graduating from college. But it was, so it was really a wonderful experience dancing with the younger generation, because they were such accomplished dancers, and yet they could boss us around, and they could help us up from the ground if we needed to, or they could cover up for us if we missed a cue, or it was just great. It was great. And the sad thing is that since it's been so many years, some of the older the dancers with PD cannot dance at that level anymore, and the younger dancer, what I call the real dancers, have gone off to college, and they're doing their own thing and starting their own dance companies. So people grow up.
Yeah, they do. I just wanted to put in the chat there, thank you, Esmeralda, information on how to register for our class. So hopefully you will come, and you don't have to come alone. You can bring someone. And just, Cathy, what you were just saying, I wanted to just mention that one of the beautiful things in life is that we keep changing. Things are, we think that we're alone, but we're really not. Like kids who are transferring from elementary school to middle school, or transferring from high school to college, or getting married, or losing a spouse, or like all of these things are all big chapters that continually change. And I just have to say that the kids get enormous amount, because they learn what resiliency is, and they know they're learning what not giving up is from these people, and it has a major impact on their lives. So thank you all of you who are working with youth and are taking care of youth and engaged in youth. Yes, we are now, because of COVID, have been teaching online. So I think that makes it even more accessible. So here's the thing, if you you're all on Zoom, so that's good. But if you have someone that you know of that has challenges, just set it up for them and take class with them. I always say, even if I told someone to go to Chez Panisse and be like, it is so good, they probably wouldn't go by themselves, right? So I always say, just like, bring them with you. Come and take class, and hopefully they'll get acclimated and come back on their own. So I don't know if there's anything else. We're at 2 o'clock, and so are there any last minute things?
We can introduce Takako.
Yes.
I see Takako. I'm going to add you.
Yay. So Takako did a lot of work. And I'll tell you, I met Takako in Judy Kajiwara's hip hop class at J-Sei. And I didn't know her, but I saw her tennis shoes and she had this fly outfit on. And I was like, I don't really know you, but can I take your picture? Because I love
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we bumped into each other at Uzen. I went for noodles and she was there. And of course, it was just an amazing kind of connection. I was like, hey, do you think maybe you might want to help me translate something? Oh gosh, little did she know.
I know it was supposed to be just a few pages. Just a brief introduction of the program. I said, oh, sure, okay, I'll be happy to. And then it went on and on. This is the last batch. Oh, this is the very final batch. No, this is the truly final one. It went on and on. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of work, I admit, but it was fun. And I was so lucky to be able to help. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank
you for redoing my voice so nicely.
Yeah,
it was a privilege to be able to be involved with this one. Yes.
Thank you.
The hard one was the poem translation. There are lots of nice poems, and that was it was a little hard. But I'm so glad, and I'm so glad you're still going on.
Aw, thank you.
Very proud of you.
Thank you so much. And I mean, I not a lot of folks wanted to really have the book in their bookstore because they said, we don't have anything like this. And when I took it to a Japanese bookstore, they were like, we don't really, no, we don't want to really, no, people are not interested in this kind of thing, right? Because it really examines disease in a way. And I think there really are challenges. But when we don't learn about it, then we would never know about the protein thing. Like, it's like, I've trained in dance and in ballet, and when you have that point shoe, the point shoe is really hard. It's like working with that shoe, but then like they actually make shoes that are really easy, and like, why fight the shoe? So if you have, it's like, why fight? It's like reach out to others, learn and get knowledge from what they've already figured out to make things a little easier. So that's kind of what I've learned too.